everybody, it's me Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with another video. I know I took a little bit of time before I came out with another video, but I got so much content on my channel, there's enough stuff you guys can watch to hold you over. But here it is, this is my full review of Twisted Metal Season 2. I know a lot of people did it by episode basis, but I wanted to wait until all the episodes dropped and watch them all to give you this review. The first half is going to be spoiler free. When it gets to the part where I'm going to talk about spoilers, I will let you guys know. That way you can stop the video at that point and watch Twisted Metal Season 2 if you haven't already, and then we can come back to it. Now, first of all, anyone who's living under a rock don't know what this is. This is a live action, actually made into a Season 2, a live action take of the Twisted Metal franchise that was based off the original David Jaffe game made by the group called Singletrack back in the day, that released on November 5th of 1995 on the PlayStation 1 system. A classic car combat game that pretty much led to just all the new car combat games that we get so often nowadays, right? LOL. But the series consisted so far of over 9 different games in the Twisted Metal franchise history. And like I said, this Season 2 consists of 12 episodes, and they originally started airing them 2 at a time, starting in July 31st, and they just finally ended it on the 28th of August. And it consists of quite a bit of different characters from the Twisted Metal universe, and way better than the first one. The first one people had a problem with because you call it Twisted Metal, and yes, it had cars in it, it had guns in it, and stuff like that, but the whole point of Twisted Metal is to have a tournament. And I will say, Season 2 does have a tournament. It waits until a couple episodes in before it actually starts with the tournament, but it does in fact actually have one. And I'm shocked to say this. This is so much better than Season 1 in terms of the acting and all the characters that are in this. All the characters, first of all, you have Mayhem, who is played by Sailor Bell Carta. John Doe, once again, is reprised by Anthony Mackie, comes back as John Doe. We have Stephanie Beatrice as Quiet. Samoa Joe returns as Sweet Tooth, who is also voiced by Will Arnett in this, which, hands down, I still think is the best damn character in this series. I mean, honestly, personally, it's not the Sweet Tooth most of us know and love. It's a more comical take on him, but it works for the show considering it's live action. Then, one of my favorites show up. Mr. Grimm is in this, played by Richard D. Clark. I hope I say these people's names right. Then, another fan favorite, which I didn't know how they were going to pull it off, but they somehow did, is Axel, played by Michael James Shaw. Of course, then we have Tiana Oki as Dollface. Honestly, another standout character in this, which is super wacky and over the top, but actually works for a Twisted Metal show, is Lisa Gilroy's take on Vermin. She actually really goes all the way balls to the wall in this. It shows that she was having fun with this. And we also have Raven. But this time, Raven is played by Patty Guggenheim. Now, most people know the first season of Twisted Metal actually had Neve Campbell play Raven. But for whatever reason, it might have been due to money reason, which makes no sense because I know for a fact this season got way bigger budget. So I'm not sure if maybe she just didn't want to return. I don't really know the reason why, but Patty Guggenheim plays Raven this time. And of course, the number one thing that was at the end of Season 1 that was leading into it is, yes, Calypso is in this, and he's played deliciously by Anthony Garrigan. Honestly, once again, it is another different take of Calypso, but if you play the games, you know that just about every game, Calypso kind of has a different character. It's always the same thing that, okay, you win the Twisted Metal tournament, and the winner gets to make one wish. And of course, much like any sort of evil genie sort of thing, no matter what you wish, it generally, normally, always backfires. And I can actually say in this, that's actually pretty impressive what they do. Honestly, like the different points of the characters and how they bring them in, it does focus mainly on Quiet and John Doe and Mayhem mostly, but it does have some pretty good standout moments with the Raven character and definitely Calypso. Now, Dollface is in it for a bit with a nice little twist like halfway through the season, but honestly, the ones that stand out for me is the way they actually make Mr. Grimm in this is actually really, really interesting. Because we all know the Twisted Metal series has this sort of supernatural aspect to it, and they never really explain. Like, they never explain how Calypso can grant you a wish. They never really explain anything, other than the fact that most of these, quote, psychos all got out of the Blackwater Asylum. So they had a great tie-in for that. I do love the fact of all the practical stuff in this. Like, when you see Axel, like you see him here, that is actually a real thing that this actor is, sitting on. Now, there are other scenes when they're actually driving around shooting each other that I'll get a nitpick in a little bit. But honestly, the different cars, the way they look, are fantastic. And they actually do stay true to the Twisted Metal gaming series. And this one is so much better than Season 1. And like I said, the best thing I can point out with it is I love Calypso in this. Vermin, Lisa goes out of the park on Vermin, and everyone loves Sweet Tooth, and even Stu returns as well. Now, the main focus on this, which I really do love, is the massive car combat. Now, the first one had mostly running and gunning, and it did have some car stuff, but it really wasn't the main focus. This time, I can happily say there is some scenes when they're out on their feet, like the one thing where they all get taken on a school bus to this school that they stay there during the Twisted Metal tournament. That is not much car related, but it still has some good fighting action, gunning action, and really decent gore. Most of it is practical gore. And like I said, the car combat is way, way better in this. A lot more running and gunning, a lot more shooting action going on. I do have to point out some things that does kind of bother me with this series, though. And that is the fact there is so many times that these guys are shooting at each other with missiles and rockets and bombs and all these cool throwbacks to the actual weapons from the Twisted Metal gaming series that is done superbly, but there's hardly no real damage. Like, I understand, okay, some of these vehicles have armor on them and stuff like that, but there's so many parts in this where they're literally peppering the living fuck out of their vehicles with guns, with bullets, and there's no bullet holes. It's like the bullets are made out of rubber or something. They don't do much. It's only until certain parts in the series where all of a sudden, okay, you were just shooting at them with a machine gun, and they're dodging it, and it's not doing anything to the vehicle, and then all of a sudden you happen to pepper the guy full of bullets and kill him. So, I mean, that I have an issue with. That and some of the CGI effects look really bad. Now, most of it centers on Axel, okay? Now, when he's up in your face, it is an actor that's actually in a physical, set of wheels, which is very well done. But anytime there's any movement from Axel when he's driving around, it's really, really bad CGI. You can tell it's CGI, and it's understandable. They're not going to have this dude wide out in the open, racing around with all these other people in real cars. It makes perfect sense. I just wish the effects were a little bit better for it. Now, the other thing I have to point out is the sets in this are way better than the first one. The first one had a couple different sets, like, the wall, because you remember that Anthony Mackie's character as John Doe was a milkman. He would run, like, supplies from the people behind the wall, outside the wall. This one, it doesn't really focus on much of that other than all these characters coming together and getting to make a wish in a wishing well that whoever wins the tournament will get a wish granted from Calypso. And Calypso does have some sort of a superpower to him. He's either a demon, a devil, or something. They do not go into details, which I kind of like. They're leaving it open. But there are certain parts where he does things, and you're like, okay, that's weird. Is he possessed? And like I said, what they did with Mr. Grimm, I absolutely love. It's almost like he is a mental case because he's been in an asylum. He thinks he's swallowing people's souls. And in his minds, it's like Mr. Grimm from the game. He's swallowing your souls. But in real life, people are just looking at him going, okay, what's this guy doing? He's like breathing in and there's nothing going on. And he has like a multiple personality disorder where he believes all these souls of people he's killed and swallowed their soul, like pretty much like, Mortal Kombat. But he's got multiple personality disorder, so he's bouncing around between different characters. And I really like that. It really is cool. I mean, like I said, when you're actually taking something like a Twisted Metal game and turning it into a television series, you have to expand a lot of stuff. And there is some parts, like when they go to like I'm going to just say the store, which is absolutely hilarious. Once again, Sweet Tooth, hands down, is just an awesome character in this series. I mean, the other people are great too, but honestly, now, they do some flashbacks and some other callbacks to the gaming series, including, near the end, something about cheat codes, which I thought was funny. Now, apparently the first season had a budget of $44 million, so it came to about $3.5 million per episode. Now, this one, I still can't find to see how much the budget was, but it's obviously probably double that. Because you can tell by all the effects, all the explosions, the different vehicles, the makeup effects, some other characters in it. Honestly, it's really, really cool. And yes, they do set it up with a finale that kind of leaves you hanging for a season 3. Now, at this point, I'm going to have to point out, from this point on, I am actually going to be giving away spoilers. So if you haven't watched the Twisted Metal Season 2, all of them yet, this is the part where you stop the video, watch it, and come back. Okay? I'm giving you 5 seconds here before I go into the spoilers. All right. As for spoilers, honestly, this is very well done. They do kill off a lot of characters, but they also do it in a way to where you actually can see, like, Sweet Tooth gets blown up, but at the end you see that even though he's pouring blood everywhere, he still isn't dead. In fact, they're dragging him away, and I swear, I don't know if it's Yellow Jacket, but it is a yellow cab that's dragging him and taking Sweet Tooth back to go see Marcus Kane. That's right. If you're a fan of the games, you know who that is. Marcus Kane is Sweet Tooth's father. So they're actually going the route to having to explain Sweet Tooth's backstory with his father, which is cool. And they even have an end boss in this, Minion. That's right, Minion, but not the way you would expect. I'm kind of disappointed with Minion. Minion, we all know, basically was a created character, a monster from Calypso to drive a vehicle to destroy everyone. Well, in this one, it's just this badass death metal rock demon. Okay, it looks like a just badass demon outfit, and it's like a super powerful enemy that they all have to fight. And it turns out, because earlier on, I believe it is Dollface. Dollface is actually the sister of John Doe in this. And he does know about this, okay? They find out that she is his sister, and she gets killed early on in the series. Well, apparently, Calypso actually goes and uses Dollface's dead body to turn it into Minion. And it's a big epic fight at the end. Like I said, there are a couple parts in this where they do look like levels straight from the game. And I think that was very impressive, including the finale where it's this big gauntlet, giant area with all these metal boxes and stuff. And, there is an actual winner at the end. All the people pretty much get their vehicles blown up and they're eliminated. And Stu wins. And Stu's wish is to be away from everybody else with his best friend. And the problem is his best friend gets killed, okay? So, Calypso grants him his wish, and next thing you know, he's in a spacecraft up in space orbiting Earth with his dead friend's body floating behind him. Once again, classic Calypso move, actually giving you your wish, but doing it in a sick, twisted way. But they end up at the end that John Doe and Mayhem get away, okay? And they get away, but then Calypso blows up a bunch of people because he has a crowd watching him. He blows up a bunch of people and frames them two, saying that they purposely set a bomb off. So pretty much the end of season 2 has John Doe and Mayhem on the run, pretty much from the whole world, trying to take them down and kill them. Calypso gets away scot-free, and pretty much Sweet Tooth is being dragged back to see his father, Marcus Kane. So they have a nice little setup at the end where I can say, hands down, I thought that season 2 was actually fantastic. You could tell they put a lot of money in this. The acting is superbly done. It's got a twisted ending. And like I said, the season 3 setup, pretty much John Doe ends up at John Doe's cabin. That the only thing he remembers because he has amnesia. But they're on the quest to actually kill Calypso while everyone else is trying to kill them. And Sweet Tooth is going to go see his father. Plus, there was a nice little joke where Calypso early on was done up as a guy named Mr. Sparks, who's trying to pitch this show of Twisted Metal to NBC, and they're like, no, we're going to pick up BattleBots over this. So I thought that was kind of funny. It does have a lot of good jokes in it. It's got some pretty decent gore, good fight scenes, good gunplay, and honestly, the cars are the highlight of the show, that they actually have a Twisted Metal tournament, and it's actually done fairly well. The only nitpick, like I said, is I wish the bullets would actually hit more often. It seems like the bullets do nothing until it's written in the script that they, all of a sudden now they actually start hurting people. But other than that, I think all the actors played these characters fantastic. There were several standouts, and I can honestly say, if they improve upon this in Season 3, I honestly can't wait for Season 3 of Twisted Metal. This was Nate, a.k.a. Devil Dog, and I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching this video. Hopefully you stayed till the very, very end, because if you did, I have a little treat for you. My next upcoming video is going to be Gears of War and also Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. But once again, thank you, each and every single one of you people that watch this video. Please leave comments below. And of course, we always end our videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.